For thousands of years, China did not wonder what the rest of the world was doing. It didn't need to. While other civilizations looked outward toward conquest, expansion, and survival, China looked inward. Not because it was afraid, but because it believed it had already solved the problem of civilization. To understand China, you must forget how most of the world understands history. History, in much of the world, is a story of competition. Empires rising, empires falling, borders changing, power shifting hands. China's history follows a different rhythm. It is not a straight line forward. It is a cycle: order, decline, chaos, restoration, again and again and again. This rhythm shaped how China saw itself and why it never fully joined the world's endless wars. Long before Europe became Europe, China already existed as a civilization, not a country, a civilization. Villages along the Yellow River learned to farm together. Floods forced cooperation. Survival demanded organization. From the beginning, China learned a lesson that never left it. Chaos kills, order saves. As dynasties formed, something unusual happened. China did not define itself by blood or tribe. It defined itself by culture. You could be conquered by China and still become Chinese. Language, ritual, custom, obedience to order. These mattered more than ancestry. This made China expansive without needing constant war. People were absorbed, not erased. Then came an idea that quietly shaped everything: the mandate of heaven. Rulers did not rule forever. They ruled conditionally. If they governed well, heaven approved. If they governed poorly, heaven withdrew its favor. Disasters were not random. They were warnings. Rebellion was not treason. It was correction. This belief made China remarkably stable, because even collapse had meaning. When the Qin unified China in 221 BCE, they did something revolutionary. They standardized everything: writing, weights, measurements, laws. A farmer in one region could understand an official in another. China became a system, and systems think long-term. The Han Dynasty inherited this system and refined it. Confucianism became the backbone of governance. Confucius did not teach conquest. He taught harmony. He believed society worked best when everyone knew their place: ruler, official, father, child. Order was moral, and morality was political. This shaped China's relationship with violence. War was sometimes necessary, but it was never noble. A good ruler avoided war. A wise ruler prevented it. Victory was not glory. Stability was. This is one reason China never glorified generals the way Rome did. Its heroes were scholars, men who passed exams, men who mastered texts, men who governed patiently. This created something rare in ancient history: a bureaucracy that outlasted kings. Officials were trained, tested, replaced. Dynasties fell, administrators remained. China didn't collapse when rulers failed. It reset. While Europe fractured into competing states, China consolidated. While Europe fought religious wars, China regulated belief. While Europe armed itself endlessly, China perfected administration. This difference matters because it explains why China did not need to conquer the world to feel secure. To the Chinese worldview, the world already had a center: China. This idea was called Tianxia, all under heaven. China was not one nation among many. It was civilization itself. Others existed on the edges, not enemies, not equals, but outsiders. Foreign rulers were not expected to be defeated. They were expected to acknowledge. They sent tribute. They bowed. They performed rituals. In return, China granted trade, titles, and protection. This was not humiliation. It was cosmic order. China did not expand outward. The world leaned inward. Maps reflected this belief. China stood large at the center. Other lands shrank toward the edges, not because China didn't know they existed, but because they didn't matter. Geography reinforced this confidence. Mountains to the west, deserts beyond them, dense jungles to the south, the ocean to the east. China was naturally enclosed. Unlike Europe, which was forced into constant competition, China could afford patience. Threats came from the north, nomadic peoples, fast, mobile, unpredictable. China's response was revealing. It built walls. The Great Wall was not a single structure. It was an idea made of stone, a belief that stability was preserved by separation. China did not chase invaders across continents. It contained them. Defense over dominance, containment over conquest. As centuries passed, China grew wealthy. Silk, porcelain, tea, paper. It invented technologies centuries before Europe: printing, gunpowder, advanced navigation. For long stretches of history, China was the most advanced society on Earth, and it knew it. This bred confidence. Confidence turned into certainty. Certainty became complacency. But for a long time, it worked. China did not need the world. The world needed China. Then something happened that still puzzles historians. In the early 1400s, China launched the greatest naval expeditions the world had ever seen. Led by Admiral Zheng He, gigantic fleets crossed the Indian Ocean. They reached Arabia, East Africa, foreign ports that Europeans would not see for decades. China stood at the edge of global dominance. And then, it stopped. The ships returned. Records were destroyed. Ocean-going vessels were banned. China turned inward again. Why? Mainstream history offers explanations. Court politics, Confucian distrust of merchants, fear of instability. But beneath all of this was a deeper belief. China already had everything it needed. Expansion brought risk. Risk threatened order, and order mattered more than wealth. While China withdrew, Europe surged outward. Exploration became obsession. Trade became empire. Empire became war. A new global system formed, one built on competition, one built on force. China watched and waited. This decision shaped everything that followed. China would not colonize the world. The world would come to China instead, but not on China's terms. And when that happened, the shock would be profound. Yet even before that collision, China's inward focus left deep marks on its people. Education became sacred. Patience became virtue. Respect for hierarchy became instinct. History became memory, not forgotten, never forgotten. This is why China feels ancient and modern at the same time, why its people think in decades, not election cycles. Why discipline matters more than individual expression. Why humiliation is remembered longer than victory. Why stability is valued above all else. China did not isolate itself because it feared the world. It isolated itself because it believed chaos was the true enemy. And chaos, to China, was always closer than conquest. The world would eventually force China into history on new terms. China's instinct to turn inward did not begin in the modern age. It began with stone. The Great Wall was not built all at once. It was not even one wall. It was many walls, built across centuries by different rulers for the same reason: control. The earliest walls appeared as early as the 7th century BCE, during the Warring States period. China was divided. Rival states fought endlessly. Northern nomadic groups raided farms and settlements. The walls were not symbols. They were necessities. When China was unified under the Qin dynasty in 221 BCE, walls were connected, not to stop all invasions, but to slow them, to channel movement, to protect agriculture, to buy time. Later, during the Han Dynasty, the walls expanded westward. The threat came from the Xiongnu, powerful nomadic confederations. Again, China did not chase them endlessly across open land. It contained. The wall most people recognize today was built much later, during the Ming Dynasty, between the 14th and 17th centuries. This was after China had expelled the Mongols. The wall became stronger, higher, more fortified, because memory was fresh. China had been ruled by outsiders once. It did not intend to let it happen again. The wall was never about isolation from the world. It was about protecting order from chaos. That instinct never disappeared. It evolved. By the time the modern world entered its most violent phase, China was already wounded. During World War I, China was weak, divided, and underestimated. The Qing dynasty had collapsed. A fragile republic replaced it. China sent laborers to Europe, hundreds of thousands. They dug trenches, moved supplies, buried the dead. They were promised respect afterward. They did not receive it. At the Treaty of Versailles, China's territory was handed to Japan instead. This betrayal shocked the nation. It planted the seeds of modern Chinese nationalism. China learned another lesson. Global systems did not protect the weak. During World War II, China suffered more than most people realize. Japan invaded in 1937. Cities fell. Civilians were massacred. The Nanjing massacre alone killed hundreds of thousands. China fought for 8 years, longer than most allied nations, with fewer resources and enormous loss. When the war ended, China was exhausted. Then came civil war, again. In 1949, a new state emerged, one shaped by war, invasion, and betrayal. During the Cold War, China did not align fully with either side. It trusted no one completely. It isolated itself again, not ideologically, psychologically. The modern Chinese state was built on one promise: never again weak, never again humiliated, never again dependent. This promise explains much of what outsiders find confusing today, especially control, especially information. When the internet emerged, China saw opportunity, but also danger. Uncontrolled information had destabilized empires before. Pamphlets, rumors, religious movements, foreign influence, technology changes. The fear remains the same. China does not experience the present the way most nations do. It experiences history, not as something finished, but as something ongoing, layered, accumulated, remembered. This is one of the hardest things for outsiders to understand, because in much of the world, history is archived. In China, history is consulted. For thousands of years, China learned one lesson repeatedly. Civilizations do not collapse from invasion alone. They collapse from internal disorder, corruption, fragmentation, loss of legitimacy. Foreign powers only succeed when chaos opens the door. This belief did not come from theory. It came from experience. Dynasties rose when order was restored. They fell when order decayed. Peasant revolts, famine, administrative failure, over and over again. So China learned to fear one thing above all else: instability. This fear shaped behavior. It shaped governance. It shaped culture. And it shaped people. Education became sacred, not just as a path to success, but as a moral duty. To be educated was to be useful to order. For centuries, young men studied endlessly for imperial exams. Years of memorization, interpretation, self-discipline, most failed. But the system endured. It taught patience, endurance, respect for hierarchy. This is why education still holds enormous weight in Chinese society. Talent is respected. Expertise is trusted. Merit is seen as stabilizing. These instincts are not modern. They are ancient. This is why modern China invests heavily in self-reliance. technology, infrastructure, manufacturing. Dependence is vulnerability. Vulnerability invites pressure. Pressure leads to humiliation. This logic is not recent. It is inherited. China also remembers being underestimated. Again and again, dismissed as stagnant, backward, unchanging. One of the least understood aspects of China is this: it does not rush to prove itself. It measures time differently. Empires that think in centuries do not panic over decades. This is why China builds long-term projects, massive infrastructure, slow reforms, gradual expansion of influence, no dramatic announcements, no sudden shifts, just accumulation. Many ask why China does not seek cultural dominance the way others have, why it does not export ideology aggressively. The answer lies in its past. China never believed civilization could be imposed. It had to be absorbed. Historically, China did not convert others. It waited, and over time, neighboring peoples adopted its systems, language, administration, custom, influence without conquest. This pattern still echoes today. Another curiosity often overlooked. China has rarely sought to erase history, even painful history. Dynastic failures were recorded meticulously, mistakes documented, lessons preserved. This creates a culture that learns slowly, but remembers permanently. This also explains why China does not easily forget past humiliations. Forgiveness is possible. Forgetting is not. Memory is protection. The Great Wall still stands, not because it works as a defense, but because it reminds. It marks a boundary between chaos and order, between inside and outside, between control and uncertainty. China's inward turn was never a retreat from the world. It was a strategy for survival, one tested over thousands of years. Today, the world often asks the wrong question. It asks what China wants. The better question is what China fears. The answer has always been the same: disorder. China did not ban communication from other parts of the world. It rebuilt it inside its own system. Instead of WhatsApp, China uses WeChat. Not just messaging, payments, identification, business, life management, a tool integrated into daily order. Instead of YouTube, there is Bilibili, long-form video, education, history, youth culture, moderated, structured. Instead of TikTok, China uses Douyin, same format. Different rules. Content is filtered differently, less political noise, more controlled trends. Instead of Google, China uses Baidu. Search exists, but within boundaries. Instead of Twitter or Facebook, there is Weibo. Discussion happens, but under supervision. This is not technological fear. It is philosophical control. China believes information shapes reality, and reality must remain stable. But what about young people? This is where the story becomes more complex. Present-day Chinese people understand the history and concepts that led to looking inward. Young Chinese citizens are not unaware. Many know what exists outside. They use VPNs. They watch foreign media. They compare. Some feel restricted. They want openness, creativity, connection. Others feel protected. They see chaos elsewhere. Misinformation, polarization, social breakdown. They see stability as a fair trade. Most live somewhere in between. Pragmatic, focused on opportunity, career, education, family. What outsiders often miss is this: Chinese youth are not silent. They are selective. Expression exists, but it adapts. China has always adapted this way. It absorbs what it finds useful, filters what it finds dangerous, preserves what it values most. Order. From stone walls to digital firewalls, the logic is the same. Control the boundary. Preserve the center. Avoid chaos. China did not step away from the world because it feared it. It stepped back because it believed civilization must be protected, even from itself. This does not make China right or wrong. It makes China consistent. A civilization shaped by memory does not gamble with instability. It plans, it contains, it endures. And that is why China has always stood apart, not absent from history, but moving according to a different rhythm. History does not belong only to those who conquer. It also belongs to those who survive. China survived. If this journey helped you understand not just China's past, but why its present looks the way it does, kindly like this video, subscribe and share for more interesting facts about history. Because history doesn't disappear.